my fellow comic book collectors. This is Alan, the comic collector geek, and I have a really great weekly hottest comic review for you guys to see for Golden Age comics that sold this week. These are some big sales. These are some pretty crazy sales. I'm going to start out with two private sales that I sort of got the inside knowledge of that happened that were just record-breaking sales. So the first sale that I'm going to talk about is for an All-American 22. This is early Green Lantern first appearance. It is just a classic cover. It's just a really pretty book. It was a 7.0. And it, as I said, it was a private sale. This book is from December 1940. And it's just a really great cover. There's no key appearances about it. It's just an early Green Lantern appearance. And it is a book that is just, for collectors, it's one of those ones that you would go after for the reason of just wanting an early Golden Age appearance of Green Lantern. So this had a prior sale. So this sale was for $2,200. So it's a big sale, $2,200 for a 7.0. It had a prior sale of a 6.0 for $1,895 in February of 22. So this sale, was slightly above that. I mean, it was like good $300 more, roughly. So this book, that's a pretty good price, actually. I think the person got a pretty good price for it for a 7.0. That's, a full grade point higher, but it is a record for that grade. There was no prior sale to this 7.0. So it's just a really rare book. There's only 17 on the census in the Universal Blue labels and 23 altogether. So just a really rare book. You don't see it that often. So anytime that it does come up for auction, which could be years in between, it breaks records. So just a really great sale. So that was the first private sale. The second private sale that I heard about was for Diary Secrets number 16. Now, this book I'm a little bit partial to because I actually picked up a copy after I heard about this record sale. so I'm a little bit partial to this one. So the record sale was for a 5.0, and it sold for $1,835. That is a massive sale. And you're probably wondering why such a big sale. There's no key significance about this book. It's not like it is a romance book, but it does feature the artwork of Matt Baker. It's a cover art by Matt Baker. So, and it's considered one of the more, for the title, it's one of the better covers for Matt Baker. So kind of a highly sought after book. The prior sale for the same grade happened in August of 22 for $1,560. So this is, $300 above that prior sale. Just as an FYI, there was a 3.0 that sold for $800 in February of 23. So just like a month ago, there was a 3.0 that sold for $800, and I bought my copy. I bought it for $800 for a 3.5. So I kind of, before this big sale happened, I was able to get my lower grade copy, but for a good price. So I was quite happy about that. So that is in the mail and something I'm looking forward to. So that's why I'm a bit partial to this book. But it is a really rare book. There's only 20 on the census, and all are blue labels. So it's a very rare book. As I said, you don't usually see it. So this record sale of $1,835 is a big sale, because you just don't see this book very often. Okay, next. This is actually an interesting book, this next book, because this was one of those books that I was predicting as a good book to invest in. I was doing a show with Mark Oileroyd, and we were talking about which books would you like to invest in, and this was one I recommended because it's the first Joker cover in the Batman title, and it is Batman number 11. It's actually the third Joker cover, but it is the first time that you see the Joker on the cover in the Batman title. And actually, I think it's the best of the three first Joker covers. So it's a very iconic cover. So this was a 5.0 sale. And this book is from June of 1942. It features the artwork of Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson. So pretty big names. And it had a record. So this was kind of an interesting book because it was actually on eBay and it had a best offer option. So it was originally listed at $10,999, but the best offer was accepted for $8,500. Now, this is kind of an interesting sale because it actually had a prior sale back in September of 22 for $8,500. So this sale was actually back in September of 22 for $9,000. So this was actually a little bit of a weak sale, a little bit lower than prior sale, about $500 lower than the previous sale, because it was best offer of $8,500. So it's kind of interesting that the seller had accepted this this kind of low ball offer, because the prior sale was higher. So just an interesting book. I thought it was a good one to show on this showcase. Maybe my spec was not such a good one. I don't know. There was some volatility in this book. Now this book is not that uncommon for the Golden Age. There are 216 universal blue labels on the census and 287 of altogether. So what you see those kind of disparities where you'll see, it's like maybe 50% more copies than the actual universal labels. And that's because a lot of the Golden Age books get restored or get qualified labels because pieces will be missing. So you'll see that kind of disparity. And speaking of that, I'll talk more about that in my last book. So you'll see how that disparity really comes into play. The next book on the list is another really great one. It's All Top number 9. All Top Comics number 9. Now this is a Jack Kamen cover, and it was a raw sale, which is kind of interesting because they showed really great pictures. And it was one where they listed the book as a 7+. Now I looked at the pictures, and I don't feel like it was a 7+. Maybe a 5.0, maybe 6 at the best. There was a major ding that was like a piece out of the cover. Maybe half a centimeter or like a quarter of an inch, if that's right math. I think that's about right. It was, so there was a big scuff mark. There was also near the bottom, there was a bit of a split spine. So those two things, I really don't feel like they could get a super high grade on it. But they listed it at a 7.0, but they took really good pictures so you could see all of the potential defects. And those were kind of major ones that I saw that I thought really didn't justify that 7+ rating that they gave it. But it is a great comic. It's from 1948. It is a Jack Kamen cover. So just a great artist. And it had a best offer on it of $2,499. Now, I don't know at this point. I tried looking it up. I tried to find out what that best offer was that was accepted. But from what I can see, I don't know what that number is. So it was $24.99 or best offer. Well, there was a best offer that was placed, and I don't know what that best offer was. Now, I'm going to give you some prior sales data on this book. There was a prior sale, a whole bunch of sales last year. This book was sort of semi-hot last year. So there was an 8.5 sale that in February of 22 for $1,560. And then there was a sale in January of 2022, which was a Promise collection. This book was in the Promise collection. And part of the reason why this book became sort of hot, just so you know, was because it was the first copy that sold in 2022 was the Promise collection, and it had a record sale of $3,120 in an 8.5. So that was a big sale, and it sort of made people bring their copies to market. So after that, there was a 6.5 sale that happened that was for $780, and another 1.5 sale in May of 22 for $315. So pretty active book because of the heat that the Promise collection brought to this book, the attention that it brought. So very interesting one. I wish I could find out what the actual sales price on it was, what the best offer accepted price was. But I just thought this was a really interesting one, especially because it's a raw book. With raw books, you really, you don't know how it's going to grade out. And I saw some tanning on it. I really didn't feel like it would get that high grade. I think it would probably grade out at a 5 to a 6. Now, if they accepted anywhere in the 2s, that is a big sale. So, yeah, just thought it was a really interesting one. The last on my top 5 list is Captain Marvel #1. And this is just a book that I want. It's a book that is the first time that we get Captain Marvel in his own series. It's not his first title. There's actually an earlier book that has his name in the title. But this is his first series, which is Captain Marvel Adventures. And this came from spring of 1941. And it is a book that there's 37 on the census and that are universal blue labels, and 65 altogether. Now that's really big to know, and I'm going to get into that more in a second. So what was this sale for? Like, this sale was for $10,000. It was a big sale. So this was for a 1.5. A 1.5, and it sold for $10,000. So that's almost the lowest grade you can get before this book is not even complete. So a 1.5 sale for $10,000. The prior sale for this book was for $4,762.53. So this was double the prior sale. It was a big sale. And the interesting thing about it was there was actually earlier sales that were bigger. But the book had sort of cooled off. And, after the Black Adam movie, it really kind of lost a lot of steam, and it really dropped. The Black Adam movie just didn't perform as well as people had hoped. And there was a little bit of cooling for this book. So it had dropped to that $47.62.53. So that was back in June of 22. Now, as I was saying, there's this book selling for $10,000 is a big sale, and it just shows that the book has kind of recovered some of that value. But as I was saying, there's 37 universal blue labels on the census and 65 altogether. Now, the reason there's so many books on the census and most of them are not Blue Label. Most of them are restored. And that's what's really interesting about this book. A lot of them are restored. And what you see this a lot, especially in this one particular book, where almost half the census is restored. And the reason for that is it's really hard to get this book in high grade. The highest graded Blue Label is a 5.0. So that is the highest grade. You cannot find a Blue Label that's higher than that. So what people would do is they would take these kind of beater copies of Captain Marvel Adventures #1, and they would restore them, make them look better. And that, if you look at the restored grades, the highest grade in the restored is 9.6. So a lot of the time they really upgraded the book through restoration. And that means that finding Blue Labels in high grade is really, really hard. so that's why a lot of the Blue Labels command big money, because they're rarer, and there's just not many high graded Blue Labels. So very interesting book. I thought that kind of extra layer of the fact that there are so many restored books kind of makes you wonder about how restoration will play out in the future, because so many of these books have been restored, and it's such a big part of the census for a book like this. So that has been the top 5 hottest books for the week. I hope you enjoyed this video. I always appreciate people's, when they like the comment, the video, when they comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. If you do all those things, you made my day. So thanks again for watching. Bye for now.